Welcome back to the channel after a couple of weeks with radio silence. My name is Nicky, and if you haven't been around before, besides of making YouTube videos, I also teach on the largest racetrack we have here in Denmark. So even though I know how to smack a Japanese bike around, my personal motorcycle is the Indian Scout Bobber, because a cruiser bike just gives me this freedom feeling and a more relaxed day-to-day ride. And I have figured out that there isn't as many cruiser bike tips or tutorials. So today we are going to talk about tips and tricks specific for the cruiser bike segment. Let's go! People often tend to say that the rear brake isn't good at all and you shouldn't rely on it. But that is actually far from the truth. Yes, it's not as good as the front brake, but what we are actually using it for, and this also applies to every other motorcycle, but it is to lower the rear end of the motorcycle before hitting the front brake, so we get this much more stable braking. And that is crucial for bigger and heavier bikes, the cruiser bike segment, or even the bagger segment. So it is just as important as the front brake. So this is what you want to do when braking or even stopping. A split second before hitting the front brake, you touch the rear brake with your foot, of course, but not blocking the brake system completely, because what you want to happen is that the rear end sits down to the asphalt. So when you're hitting the front brake, the whole bike digs its weight downwards to the ground, so you get this completely stable braking. If you're not using the rear brake at all, you probably already have felt the feeling of getting all the weight through your arms over the handlebar, and you have to tense up so you don't get this unstable braking, or even worse, a lift. So if you're not using the rear brake, start a good habit today. You really should. So when maneuvering your big and heavy bike in small and tight places, there is a little handy tip that will make you look like a superhero. But it will take some practice. If you have to do a tight turn at lower speed, then you can actually counterweight on your motorcycle to get a significant smaller turn radius. What you have to do is to lean the opposite way of the turn that you're doing, forcing the bike closer to the ground and therefore achieving a much more narrow radius than if you have done it upright. But when that's said, it is something that takes a lot of practice. So do like me, find a spot where there is a lot of space around you, a parking lot for example, and then work yourself more and more down closer to the ground. And remember, and here's another tip, your bike is much more heavier than usual bikes, so therefore also much more difficult to catch if you're falling. So you have to do this with a certain speed, because driving too slow on a cruiser bike or a heavy bike is almost always fatal for you or your bike. So if you can feel that you're losing your bike underneath you, speed up, because if you're speeding up, then the bike will get up automatically. If you let go of the throttle, the bike will lean, and if you pull the throttle, the bike will get up. It's just simple physics. So the previous tip takes us directly into the next one, which is look where you want to go. Your eyes is the most important thing while riding your motorcycle. Your eyes, your body and your brain is connected. So your body will take you to the direction that you're looking at. So let's talk a little bit about the tight U-turn from before. And the best thing you can do is to look exactly where you want the bike to go. Because I swear, this is not magic or wood or anything. But if you look in the right direction to begin with, the bike will land exactly where you look. If you want to go this way, look this way, and then let the bike do the rest. As I always say when we're having our courses, the motorcycle can do everything. We just have to teach the person who's on top of it. And this applies everywhere. If you don't want to hit the pothole in the road, don't look at it. If you don't want to hit the car because you had too much speed into a corner, don't look at it. Look exactly where you want to go. So this is not about looking cool at all, but it is actually a very helpful technique when approaching corners with a higher speed. Cruiser bikes have an exceptional low ground clearance, especially the Scout Bobber as I have here. And there is a lot of riders out there that think it's funny to scratch the foot pegs into the asphalt, but the foot pegs actually have another feature than holding your feet away from the ground. And that is to tell you that you don't have any more ground clearance. So going into a corner, simply move your butt out and also your head in the same direction as you're turning. And by doing that, you are moving the center of gravity from in the middle of the bike to in a place between you and the center of the bike. So what you are able to do now is to push the bike up while turning, creating much more contact surface underneath your tire. And with more contact surface underneath your tire, the more speed we can have. Or in this case, the more ground clearance we can achieve. And then you're also not scratching your $2,000, $3,000 exhaust system. If you have other tips that could benefit others, or if you have any other questions, please let me know in the comments, and then I will try as best as possible to get back to all of you. Please also let me know what you think of this type of content. I really like teaching more technical motorcycle related stuff and not only builds and reviews. So please let me know. So don't forget to like this video, subscribe if you aren't already. And if you're not subscribed, why? So, see you in the next one. See ya. Are we rolling? Did people actually do this?